Hello and welcome back to the Artisfy Codecast. Last time we were working on editing the major revisions and the minor revisions, and we ran into some complicated data issues because we wanted to, one, pluralize some words, and our data library doesn't allow us to easily do that, and two, we wanted to convert from minutes to hours in some cases, and again, our data library doesn't allow us to do that. So let's continue where we left off in the code, and we were exporting an after save function, and for now we're just gonna use the after save function right inside of the input.js code, but we'll move this later on. So after save, we were saying, okay, if the source element is this element, do these things to it when you're setting the data. So that ends up with us being able to do something like this. We can say like 5 revisions, 1 hours, and then it's going to say revisions, and it's going to say, okay, and this isn't syncing. And I know why that is. But it is getting the proper hour after it instead of hours, although there's not a space there. Let's ignore that for a second. Okay, so the issue and also the solution. So the issue is that here, where is it? I thought it was, oh, this is the inline edit area. Okay, so we want to jump back up to the component that's being edited, which is right here. Okay, so we decided to store the number of hours in the data, in the in the key itself, instead of using a selector, right, which would set it on the inner text. And the reason we wanted to do that is because we want the output library to pick up the data from this and to sync the data with this. But we want to display something different here and something different here if it's a different value. So, most of the time, if this value is 2, we just want a 2 here. But if it's, say, like 1.5, we might want something different, right? We might want something that says like 1 hour, 30 minutes, right? Okay, so so let's handle that case. I guess we can delete this because we're gonna always be custom setting this. And let's go in here. We've got the time text. So that's the thing we just deleted. Instead of setting the time text, let's get the element with this attribute on it. So we'll do a query selector on that, and we've got the time. Well, we can still call it the time text element. We get the major revisions time, and I think we can call this hours. Okay, and let's search for this. Okay, and we're going to call this hours. Okay, so now we're going to have hours come back here, and we can rename this hours. And now we need to find a way to format it. So I actually just worked on something like this. So yeah, this displays the time left. If you give it an end date, it's going to get the milliseconds until the end date, do a bunch of stuff to, get the total numbers, divide it, get the remainder from dividing it by, by 60 or 24, if it's if you're trying to get the hours, and then formats the minutes and seconds. and then sets them here. So that's kind of similar to something we're doing here, except we're just doing it with hours down to seconds. Or sorry, the hours down to minutes. Okay, so we have the major revisions hours, and the output we want is something like uh, 2 hours 30 minutes. So that's an example of something of a string we would want to output. 90 minutes is an example of a string we would want to output, and 1 hour is an example. So these are all cases that we want to support given a number of hours. So I think first of all, we just want the so one approach is let's get the decimal and let's get the number of hours. And then let's multiply the decimal by 60 to get the number of minutes. And let's multiply the other part by, or let's not multiply the other part. The other part is just the number of hours. If this part exists, show the hours. If this part exists, show the minutes. Very easy. The other approach, which I think I like a little bit better, is converting it into minutes first. And I'm not sure why I like this better. But we'll just multiply the whole thing by 60. And then we'll just format the minutes as this. So we will say like hours to display, and we'll do minutes, and then I don't know what this sign is, but it's if I divide this by this, what is the leftover? So for example, if we have 90 minutes, dividing this by this, it's going to go in one time, and then it's going to leave 30 over. So yeah, this is minutes to display, and then hours to display is I think just okay. So yeah, we're just doing floor on this. So do hours to display is this with the math floor. Okay, so there's a possibility that this is a 0, and there's a possibility that, say this is 120, it's going to be 0, right? Because if we do, let's just make sure. So if we do like 120, this, and then 60, yeah, we get 0. So if it's a clean division, then we're going to get 0. So now let's create our string. And we have the time text element here. So let's set the inner text of this equal to a string, and we can say yeah, okay, so I think we're gonna need some if statements. Okay, so we'll say like time string, and the first thing we're going to want to add is the hours. So we'll say time string plus equals And then we'll say, are there hours to display? If so, we're going to say the hours to display plus hours. And that's not going to give us, yeah, this is going to get complicated if we do it this way. Because we want to do a couple of things, right? So we also want to pluralize this and pluralize minutes. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of this code is a little complicated for what we're doing. You know, it's not that, it shouldn't be this complicated. But let's keep going. Okay, so I guess we'll say like if we have hours to display, then the time string is going to equal, all right, we'll do plus equal the hours number, and then I guess we'll just put like a space after that. And then we gotta pluralize the hours. So we'll say time string plus equal hours to display. Let's look up a pluralize function, because maybe there's a simple way to do it. Nope, that's not the simple one. I just want to add an S. This looks promising. Oh man, it's not. Okay, so I mean, the only thing I want to know is, can we say, you know, x equals 1, y equals, you know, is x greater than 1 or x equal to 0, then we'll say like cats, otherwise cat. And so y is going to be cat, but if we set x to 0, y is going to be cats. And if we set x to 2, we're going to get cats. Because when you say like there are 0 cats, although we don't need to catch that case, because if it's 0 minutes or 0 hours, we're not going to display it. So yeah, sorry for going down that little rabbit hole. So we're just going to say hours if it's greater than 1, otherwise hour. And I think we're going to leave a space on the end of these. Or actually, I think we're going to, geez. It's annoying. Okay. Okay, yep. And then we're going to say if minutes to display, I think we're going to do something very similar. Where we're going to say, okay, minutes to display is added to the string, and then if it's greater than 1, we're going to say minutes, otherwise we're going to say minute. I guess that's probably not necessary, because if they're just saying like 1 hour, 1 minute, or just like 1 minute, it's kind of stupid. Like, they should probably be saying more than 1 minute. But I guess we'll leave it in here. And so the thing we want to do here is say, okay, well, if there's hours to display, we're actually going to do something slightly different here. So we're going to say time string plus equal hours to display. And if there are hours, if we did set hours up there, we're going to add a comma and a space to the beginning of this string. Otherwise, we're just going to add an empty string. Okay. And so that will format it nicely. So like that's going to give us something like this. Let me just check what it looks like. 2 hours. Yeah, I think I'd prefer to have the comma. Okay, so now we've got the time string. Let's set that and test it. One case that's not going to work is if there's 0. Let's refresh. So it's going to say where's form Jeez. Okay, this is annoying. It's all the way down here. Okay. Up to two of extra work. Okay, so we'll say 2 hours space. Okay, so now it's looking fine. We'll change this to 3, we'll change this to 4. It's not working. So what is this? What would this do? If I do document query selector, or wait, is it document query selector? Query, yeah. Okay, so it's not finding this. So, but it should be here. Oh, I'm looking for time, and it should be hours, because I changed that. Okay. Okay, so if I, let's refresh one more time just to make sure. Okay, so if I change this to 3 and this to 4, 4 hours, okay, so there's a minor issue here. We're just going to put the space there instead of there. So now we do 3 and we'll do 4. Now we'll do 1 and 1 major revision up to 1 hour of extra work. Let's do like 5 and 5, and then let's do the case we know it's going to break it, 0 and 0, 0 major revision up to, okay, so so I don't know. I don't think we want to support that. I guess 0 major revisions is fine. So let's support that. So we'll say, okay, this, and we'll say or equal to 0. So now we have 0, 0, 0 major revisions up to, and I guess we can say if there's no hours to display and there's no minutes to display, then the time string is and up to, yeah, that's difficult. I think we just shouldn't display that part of it, right? We should just say 0 major revisions. Okay, so yeah, we're not going to have a time string for this case. And I think actually, yeah, I can't hide it, right? Because then you can't edit it. So, and I lose the space after the, or before the m dash when I'm setting this. Okay, so it has to be like this instead. Okay, so now I just want to hide this. So I will say span, and I will say hours area, and I'll do a document, or no, sorry, a time text. Okay, I'll do a source element, query selector. I'm going to get the hours area, and I'm going to style display none. And then I'm going to have an else here, because if they change it back to being a valid value, I want to display inline. Okay, so now I'll save that, go in here, say 0 and 0, 0 major revisions, 1 and 1, we get it back. Okay, so now the question is all this extra work actually worth it? This is a lot for just being able to edit a small little field. It's a lot. It's an important part of the page, and I think it's important, you know, that the artist allows there to be major revisions and minor revisions. So I can see the point, you know, of like kind of enforcing this area and not just like letting them enter in whatever text they want. Like this line should be for specifying the revision data. It shouldn't just be like a free entry form. So I think my idea with that was good for, you know, making it a free entry form where you could just edit this text and then edit this text in the way that like, well, we're going to pre-fill it, right? So they're going to know it should probably have to do with major revisions, and it's under this heading, right? So ideally they won't change it. So it's really about like how much should we enforce, and yeah, I mean, how much does this matter, right? This is probably going to be stuff that changes. And this is a decent amount of code for, so if I just save this in my downloads folder and I just see how much is this? Okay, it's not that much. It is, can I not just see? I wish I could just see how much space this takes up. How many like bytes? Bytes of text. Yeah, okay. So it's like 1.3 kilobytes, which I think is what our computer told us too. Yeah, okay. So 1.3 kilobytes. Um, it doesn't sound like a lot. It really isn't a lot, but it adds up. You know, you do enough of these small little features, it adds up. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do here. Because when I think about this, it's not just this small little feature. It's that like if I change this code in the future, I have to worry about the structure of it now, right? Because now I have this hours area, I have this revisions text. Um, the structure matters now. It's like it's a little bit hard to read. And then like if I move this stuff around, I'm going to have to make this feature work again. And it's extra code, right, to do that. Um, so I think the trade-off here is to leave the after save function in, right? So we'll make that something that we can use in the future if we need it, but to remove this code. I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive. Um, I'm not sure. It's not so bad. It is kind of nice. I do like the idea of like not having to rewrite this code, and I do like this little area, right? Like instead of having this, so if we go up to the timeline and we click here, right, we have the primary text and we have the secondary text, and they can set it to anything, right? Like this can be like blah, right? And it doesn't have to be a day. Ideally, they keep it a day, right? So that the client has some idea of uh, what's happening when. But they don't have to, right? So, I mean, do I like the idea of this just being like this, right? And you can say like 4.5 even, right? And 2 revisions. It's kind of nice. Um, yeah. Okay, I don't know. I guess I leave it in. I'm like really, really waffling on this, but it's kind of nice. Let's leave it in for now, okay? And then let's agree that, if in the future it does get a little messy, um, we take it out. Like at the first sign, like if it's not like a user requested feature or something, if it's not like the user's like, oh, this is good, but it could be a little bit better. If that's the case, improve it, right? But like if like I'm working on this a week from now and I come back to this code and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to build this other function in order to make this work, I think I should strongly consider at that point just removing this code and replacing it with, a primary text input and a secondary text input. Okay, so with that settled, let's rename some of this stuff or restructure this stuff because this is actually ugly. I would really like to maybe just um, I would like to like rename a lot of this stuff in general, but I guess this is fine. We're in the details section. I think this should actually be like the revision section. Um, like this is a details section, that's fine. This is a details heading, that's fine. But details list I don't like. I think this should be like revisions data or revisions list, and then this should be like a revisions list item. Because I don't think I have too many other, yeah, there's no other lists in this bundle, right? So like, there's no such thing as a details list right now. But we'll leave it for now because I don't want to worry about that. And let's just, let's create some things here. So let's say like this is details, and we want this to be inline, so we'll make it a span. We'll say this is details. So this part, what is this part? This is the revisions count, I guess. We could even say like revisions count text. Um, hmm. I guess, I mean, we don't need to change it, right? I guess I just want to like style it or like organize it a little bit better. So yeah, I think the real thing is up here where we do like details and then we'll do like revisions count. And then we can push this all in there. And then we can say, you know, this is like details revisions count or revisions revision text, maybe. It's not. It's not exactly that. It's the actual word. So yeah, we'll just say revision word, and then here we'll have another area, and we'll say details revisions hours, and what happened? Oh, we don't use this hours area anymore, right? Or we do? Oh, to display none or not. Okay. So yeah, that can be replaced by this. Then we just have a bunch of spans in here. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. How do I feel about selecting this with this? I feel fine about that. So where we use this selector, I think that's fine. Okay. Okay. So this is a slightly nicer to read through. It's not ideal, but it's okay. And we're gonna say we're gonna move this in here, and that's gonna be that instead. And then there's another selector up here. That's fine. This is gonna change, and then the rest is fine. So this one's going to be replaced with this, the revision word. Okay, so we'll say like pluralize revision word, and we'll say set hours and minutes based on revisions count. Set hours and minutes based on revisions hours. And this should definitely say revision hour. So all these revisions should say revision. Revision, and this should say revision count too, in my opinion. because when we're talking about the number of hours, we're talking about the number of hours for a single revision. So it's just nice when things read well. If you come back to code later and someone's making grammatical mistakes or like it doesn't read well, it's going to be more concerning, right? Because you're going to be like, did this person really think through this or not? So when you run into you run into that, and that's like a minor blip, right? But every minor blip is exacerbated by every other blip that comes up after that, right? So it like explodes as time goes on, and then you get super frustrated, and then you give up on building the feature. Okay, so this should work. I'll refresh a couple times to make sure. I'll get the auto reloading working soon. Okay, we're not syncing, right? That makes sense because we didn't edit our other thing. I think we copied our form. Man. Bundle. Okay. So it's down here. Okay, so now we're gonna change all of our revisions that are syncing to singular. Okay, so now we refresh, open this, set this to 0, 0 major revisions, set them both to 1 major revision up to 1 hour of extra work. Set these to 2 major revisions up to 2 hours of extra work. And that text isn't clear. It should say, uh, it should say each up to. Okay. And what happened there? So I think I have some problem here. So if I do, okay, it wasn't. I thought it squished in. Did it not squish in? So if I delete work, is this going to expand? No. Okay. It didn't squish in? I thought it was like a flexbox thing. Okay. 1 major revision, each up to 2 hours of extra work. 2 major revisions, each up to 2 hours of extra work. Okay. It makes less sense when we say 1, each up to 2 hours of extra work. Should we change that too? Let's change it. It's kind of stupid, but I want to change it. Okay, so we'll do span, and we'll say span, because we already changed. It's so stupid, but I'm gonna change it. Okay, so this is fine. This is fine. Okay, revision. Okay, we're gonna say details, revision, each word. Okay, and we're gonna say revision word, and we're gonna say each, and we're gonna say revision word and revision. Okay, so first of all, let's make our old code work by putting that in there. And now we have this new guy. I just constantly violate my own principles, don't I? I shouldn't put it that harshly. This is not a big deal. Okay, so we, based on the revision count, we just want to hide or show this. So we will say like let I think this is going to be revision word revision. Let's just say revision word. And then this is going to be the each word. And we'll do a query selector for this. And we're going to do a one-liner here, I think. We'll do style, display, equal, and we're going to say, is the count is the count more than 1? If so, we're going to set this to inline. Otherwise, we're going to just set it to none. Okay. Hide each based on revision count. That's a silly one. Okay. So we refresh this. One major revision. Oh, it's not going to work when it first loads. Ooh, okay. It's not going to work when it first loads. It's not. I need a full templating library. Right. So I could. Right. It's okay. So I could just hide it by default. But okay, what happens if someone sets it to be more than 1? Then it's going to be hidden by default. So yeah, I need like an actual if statement here. So I hate myself. I hate myself for going down this path now. This feels like I just lied to myself. Okay, we're gonna just use each up to. I like the change that we made here, where we say like revision word dash dash revision. That feels good. And I think, yeah, we undid that. Okay. Okay, we're not gonna hide the each. Okay, so it's just gonna be 2, 2, 1, 1. Okay. Now let's work on the minor revisions. So instead of working with the old code, let's just paste this code in there, and let's say everything major is now minor, and we're going to say 30 minutes, and the hours is going to be 0.5. And we're going to delete this. Okay, so we refresh this. Okay, included revisions. 1 major revision, each up to 2 hours of extra work. 1 minor revision, each up to 30 minutes of extra work. The minor revisions doesn't do what we want it to. Okay, this is a problem. Okay, so the problem is the data's not syncing because the keys are different. So do we use a different inline edit area? Do we have 2 separate sections in a single inline edit area, or do we find a way to sync the data even though they have different names? And you might be wondering, well, why not just name them the same thing? And that's actually a good idea. So the issue with naming them the same thing is they're going to overwrite each other, right? So if I say data key, and then we just say revision count, and we say revision hours, and we say revision count and revision hours, then when I parse all this data later, only one of these is going to go through. So, and I need both to go through because I need a, the backend is going to need to render this again later. So how are we going to handle this case? Well, pretty easy. It's pretty easy. And that is because what we can do is on this details list, we're going to make this a data output type of object. And I don't think we're going to have anything on that. I think it'll still be parsed. So if we parse it, get data from node, and it doesn't have a key on it, it's just going to return an empty object. Okay, so we're going to get data O-type object, and then we have this okay, so what we want it to look like in the end is like this. So we'll say like major, and then we'll say count, and we'll say hours, and then we'll say minor, and we'll say count, and we'll say hours. So how do we do that? Well, we have the object up here, and that's going to represent this parent object. And now we want an object inside of that. So we'll put that here. And this is going to have a key, and that's going to be major. And then this one's going to be minor. And then that, I think that might give us what we want. And there's something we're doing that's forgiving. We wrote it a couple times ago, but what does it do? If there is orphan data, merge it in with the current root data. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to help. That might cause more issues. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happens if we leave this off. I'm actually very curious. Okay, so what happens if we do this? So now we need access to our parse data function. So we're going to go into public JavaScript app. We're going to set this on the window and refresh our page. And now we can get data from root node, and we're going to just pass in document body. Oh my god. Okay. So yeah, this whole video series can just be summed up as a stupid amateur idiot programmer tries to develop their own front-end library their own modern front-end library. I don't know how you differentiate like React from something that's just like a framework, their own front-end framework, and fails miserably. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. So after all, we do want to be able to have points in our values. I hate this. So now we got to change all of our code we've written just so we can have 0.5. Oh my god. Ay, ay, ay. I honestly need to sit down for this. Okay, let's see. I am going to play some video games after this. Okay, so what is happening here? Well, we're running into parsing this one, and I can't parse this one because it's 0.5. And the reason it can is because it assumes any value that starts with a dot is a query selector. So either I need a way of saying this is not a query selector, which I had with an earlier version, because instead of saying data output key, I had data output location key. So it knew that it was going after a location and said, that seems like a good idea now. Okay, so that's one option, is having a different thing that's parsed differently. The other option is changing the syntax. The other option is not allowing dots in the values. Okay, so there's the case of numbers, right? Yeah, I mean, that just does it, that seals it for me. Like, it's not even like, okay, what if someone wants to start a sentence with a period? Like, that's a probably fairly weird case. Still something I would want to support, right? But yeah, it's really the numbers thing that matters here. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to change the syntax. Let's go into our data.js code, into our notes, into our list of widgets. And right now, we thought we were being so fancy by saying, oh, this is just regular value and this is a selector. And I think what we're going to have here is we're going to have like an OL. So it's like an output location key. Or we could have like an L key. Or we could have key, ditto key. Or we could have like that. I don't like that as much. I think it should be out here. It could just be like an L key, right? A location key. But it is an output key, so I like kind of keeping that. I guess L key is not terrible. It's just like, hey, it's not a regular key. It's an L key. Or it could be a Q key for like a query selector key, right? Data, okay. It could be data O like location and like, or just location like that, LOC, lines of code. But no, like location. But then it's not saying that it's a key. I like it saying that it's a key. I could spell it out and be like query key. But then, things do get a little bit long that way. I mean, last time, so I started out with this, and then I went to like the full word, and then I was like, that's way too much. It could be a query key. It could be like a special key, right? Like we could have a weird name for it. I kind of like this one the best, where it's a data L key. It's different enough from the output keys, because it's not behaving like a regular output key. So in this case, we're not just parsing O keys, right? O no longer just means output. It also means like, because this is also an output key, right? So O would more mean like, hey, the value is right here. It's in the output is right here, right? Whereas the L key would be saying, oh, hey, the output, you have to actually go look for it. I like that. That seems like a good compromise. If I had like a night's sleep on it, I'd probably come up with a better idea. But for now, I'm just going to move to this. So there's a huge problem here in that I have to change all my code to work with this now. And there's no easy way to do that because the old syntax didn't use anything special. I could use like a regex search. I think that would be worth investing in. So first, let's just change the way we're handling this code in the official library. So if I go into parse node, we have this key prefix, and we can say like location. So we're going back to the old way that we were doing things. We say, okay, if this stuff, parse it this way. So we're going to need another one that says like else if. Else if attribute name is that then we're going to then we're going to get the key name, we're going to camel case it, we're going to always do this for this case. Can you hear the sadness in my voice? Ay. Okay, we're going to always get the location, and then we're going to get the return value. I'm just trying to think. So there's like 3 lines of repeated code here. What can we do to get around that? So, I mean, we only want to get this information if it matches one of these keys. So I don't know, this might be the best we can do for now. I mean, I guess we could simplify the code. Hmm. Dun, 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 dun. Well, attribute value. What is the attribute value? Net element. Okay. Um, okay, so let's do like if it matches that or it matches that, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. The only difference is that we're getting a different attribute value if it's the other one. Nah, I don't know. We'll just leave it like this. This is fine. Okay, so we should be rocking now, I think. So we have the location key. We're not using the dot anymore to see if it's that kind. So it's actually I think it's less parsing, right? So it might save a little bit of time, right? If we have I mean, it's gonna save like I don't know, a tiny bit of time if we have this one, right? Because we no longer have to like check to see if the value, yeah, get location, key value from the element and the attribute value. Okay, so this is gonna have to be rewritten. Okay, which is annoying. So get location key value, or does it? So this attribute value is coming, oh, okay. So we're just using the element and the attribute value. The attribute value is the location string. And everything else is the same, I think. I think this might work. As is, right? Because we're cleaning up the string, we're splitting it, we're using the selector. Then we're getting we got the target element from that. We're setting it. And set location key value is we have the element, we have the location string, and we have the value. We're getting the data from the location string. How are we getting the element attribute? Or no, how are we, oh, okay. So where did I use this? Set location key value. I think it's in the main Artisfy app. Although I'm not sure. Oh, okay. It's in the okay. So I think this is where the only place it's at is sync output data values. So when we have an element that matches the data, we get the current attribute value from this attribute name. Yeah, it made a lot of things easier just using one attribute. Because now yeah, now if we want to sync the data, we're going to have to check to see if we're going to have to check to see if it matches the L key too. So that's a lot of, it's not a ton of extra work. It's a little extra work. Okay, so yeah, we'll do that. Because I think this is the right approach. I really, it's too much for me to not allow a dot to be the first thing in the value. That's insane to me. I don't know how I ever made that decision. I mean, I do know. I was thinking most text values aren't going to start with a dot. This is a prototype. It doesn't have to be, the best thing in the world. But it turns out that, yeah, there's numbers. There's such things as numbers. Okay, so before we go and test all this stuff, I just want to make sure, does this code look okay here? So for parse node, this is fine because the data O key is only to specify how it's going to fit into the parent object, and that isn't going to be a location key. I'm never going to make that a location key. So that's fine. Now we're going to get the data from the node. We have two prefixes. We run through the first prefix. We handle it in the normal way. It's just a value in the attribute. Else, we're going to see, hey, does it match the location key? If it does, do the same thing. So these have the same length, right? So I'm just using one. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So we get the key name the same way. We get the value by looking at the location key, and we do that very easily by just passing in the element and the attribute value, and then we set this. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, so now let's work with the set location key value, which is just right here, and we also have to, there might be other places where we're doing this wrong, but I think this is the only other place we're doing this. So get the attribute name based on the key name. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're looping through all of the key names from the flat object, and we're seeing if they match. So okay, so let's how do we distinguish these? This is like a regular one, and then the other one's a location one. So let's say I guess we'll say O attribute name, and we'll say L attribute name. That's fine, I think. And then the selector string is actually going to be slightly more complicated than this. So yeah, and it's always going to be more complicated than this. We don't need like an if statement. So we've got that and we've got that. So there's just going to be a comma between them. We're looking for both of these things. These are the matching elements. We're going to see if the target element matches it too and add that in. On all matching elements, overwrite the attribute value with the source element's attribute value. Okay, so we have the current attribute value, we have the value to set. Okay, so this is something that's going to break because we don't know which one matched. Okay, so it's silly. Oh my goodness. So we'll do this for the O. Okay, so I think this is fairly easy. So this is the current O attribute, and then we're just going to have another line. So this is the current L attribute. That's not the best naming I've ever done. It's actually pretty terrible. Okay, so we'll just say like new title for this example. And that's going to be the selector. So this is like the location, and this is, I don't know what we call this. They're both output. Could be like regular. Or, well, let's do plain. I like plain. Okay, so let's, oops, search for this. And we'll replace these. Location. And this is the plain, and this is the location. Oops. And this is the plain attribute. And this is the location. Okay, so now we have potentially two, but probably just one. It's actually only ever going to be one, I think. We get the value to set, that's fine. And then we say, okay, if it's the plain one, which is ideally going to be the most common case, we'll do that. And we'll say, like, else if we have the location one, then matching element attribute name is no longer defined because it's going to be the plain one, and we've got the value to set. And if we've got this one, I don't know, I mean, I guess we can open it up. It's just one more if, right? I don't know. We'll move this example down there. Okay, so current location attribute value attribute value. Yeah. So then we're going to set the location key using the matching element the current location, and the value to set. Okay, so I think that makes a lot of sense. Hopefully, hopefully it works. Hopefully it makes sense to the computer too. And we can have like an EG up here. And let's say like data O key is like minutes, and we'll put like 30. And then we'll just say like, I don't know, half hour here. Okay, so that's like, I don't know, it could be type, right? We'll just do type, and we'll do feedback, and then this will be empty. Okay, that's less confusing when you're coming back to read it, I think. Okay, so that makes sense. That's going to be an L. Let's search for any data O in here. Parse data O key. Okay. Parse data O key and data L key attributes on the source element and all of its children. Okay. And we got one there, and we've got one there. Okay, so I hope this works. So the last thing to do, I think, is let's just, actually, before we do the last thing, let's look inside of our code for output.js and just make sure there's no other like data O stuff. So this is fine, the type is fine. Okay, and then this doesn't have any data O stuff in it. Okay. Yeah, okay, that looks fine. So I think that should work. The input save watcher should now work because we're syncing the data, and we just changed that. This, I think, should work. I didn't add a string for this. 5, let's say, search the, or like, overwrite the target element if the action element has a special attribute. Okay. That worked. Okay. So now let's go into our bundles code, and we're going to look for a regex. That's going to be data dash O dash key dash. You know what? I think we can just probably look through all of these. I don't think we need a regex. But let's try to write it anyways. So we got dot star non-greedy and a quote and then a dot, and it's an actual dot. Cool. Okay, so let's we'll copy this. Okay, so this first one, I guess we could try to replace these all automatic. No, let's do it one by one. Okay, so let's do the L there, do an L there, do an L there, L, L. Oh, this is gonna get annoying because this is on every single one. Okay, so we'll search for this all the times that it is. L, L, a search. Oh, no, where's our regex that we wrote? Our beautiful regex. Okay, it's gonna be an L, an L, an L. Oh, shoot. Okay, that's not an L. This is an L, okay. That's like the one case we're trying to support, right? Jeez. Okay. And this is an L. Oh, jeez. Okay. What is this? This is an L. Are these L's? Yeah, those are L's. Okay. What is this? Okay, those are L's. Okay. Okay, awesome. And this is the last one. So the reason I wrote this regex is actually because there's another area that I want to support. So I've got parse node over here. It actually hasn't been updated in a while. Okay, so let's get parse node from here. So I think it's using the same. Oh man, this gets really hairy. I think we're just using the same functions here. I don't know if we have format spaces here. I don't think we have format spaces here. We don't. Oh god. Okay. Well, I guess we're not going to update our old code that has like the tests in it. We're going to have to add this to our new library. And the reason being is that we don't have our format spaces for the location string. I guess we don't need it. We could just leave it off for our new code. Yeah, okay, let's keep this breathing for one more try. And if it doesn't work, then that's fine. If this doesn't work, like if I try this out and it's just not working, then I will give up on this code. Oh, and it's still parsing X types. Oh geez, really? I thought I switched this. No, it's still parsing X types. Okay, so I don't even know if I can. No, I can't save this. Okay, let's put it back to how it was. Okay, so we'll just, I don't know, try our best. Okay, so first of all, let's see, did we totally break things? Or does it work? Oh, I'm so excited that that works. I'm going to refresh one more time because sometimes it's with the old code and it's not actually working. No, it's working. Okay. Awesome. And if I do this one, awesome. Okay, so let's go to our timeline. This one's a little bit more complicated. Oh, it didn't sync. Did you see that? It didn't sync. Okay, so what's going on here? I think first of all, sorry, I just want to commit the code that I have so far. Jeez. It's a lot. What is this? Why? Oh, this is the app bundle. Jeez. Okay. So switching, we'll just say like switching things over to the new data-l key syntax for location keys. Okay, and then the real changes came here. Added a data L key, and with input.js, I don't want to commit this here, but I guess I'll leave it here for now. Whatever, I'll commit it here. Okay. We'll say like added support for data, and this is probably going to have to be changed very soon. Key location keys, because the data isn't actually syncing. Added support for data L key location keys. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad about committing that code before I've actually gotten it working, but it works well enough right now that I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with this path. And I'm about to probably do like some changes. So I think it's a good time to commit. Okay, so if I select these, it works. So the only thing that's not happening here is the data's not syncing. So what is happening with the data sync? Let's go into input.js and let's look at the data sync and camel case key name, dash case key name. Okay, so I think here is a good place for a console log. And we're going to grab the matching elements and we're going to grab the selector string because I think that might be a potential issue. So we refresh again. Oh geez, come on. What's happened? Oh, it's the polyfill.js library. Okay, we'll open this. We'll click this. Huh. So it works and then it doesn't work, or what's going on? And yeah, why is it being called so many times for this single instance, right? It's weird. Oh, well, I guess it's being called once for each key in the flat data. So does that even make sense? Oh, geez. I'm doing a lot of work for this sync function. But that's okay. It's something that's going over just a little part of the DOM, so I'm okay with it doing more work for now. Okay. Oh, okay. Then this makes sense. This is actually what's supposed to happen. So this is getting some elements, right? Yeah, for the type and the size. Let's see what the camel case key name is. 2, 3. Okay. So yeah, type, size, primary text, secondary text. Oh, and that's because we're, yeah, being a little bit stupid with this. Because it has a special attribute on it where it's looking on its parent for the data. So yeah, we end up with the primary text and the secondary text. Okay, so that's fine. We are finding the matching elements. I guess let's go down here and get these, 2 and 3. And we've got null and null. Hmm. Okay, so we've got type. So we've got the element, the dash case key name is type and size. Okay. And okay, so type and size, and this is for the timeline item, and this is syncing with the inline edit. Um, so the type and size are on this here, and then it's supposed to sync with, oh my goodness. Oh man. So it's supposed to sync with the choice. Okay. So it should just sync up here, right here, right? Yeah, so it's matching with this form. If we've got the right key name, it should be this one. So let's see, what is the plain attribute name? It's data o key type. Data dash o dash key dash type. It's right here, data dash o dash key dash type. Oh. So yeah, it's an empty string. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay. Yeah, okay. So now we've got, oh. Okay. So it's an empty string. So it's saying, I'm not going to sync. So what was it before? Before I changed this sync code, what was it? This is an input.js. Sync. Oh, okay. So I was just, yeah, I was being smarter about it there. Okay, so what do we really want to know here? We want to know which one did it match with. Do we have a data O key or do we have a data L key here? So getting the value, matching element. Why did I get this value in the first place up over here? So I get the current attribute value to test it. So I don't need to do that anymore. I don't actually need to have this code anymore. What I want to do is I want to say, hey, what do you match with? Or what do you have? Right? So like has attribute, and then we can use the like plain attribute name, and we can say like is plain attribute, and then um, if it's the plain attribute, we'll do, oh, we do need this? Oh yeah, we do need it. Okay, so let's get that back. Okay, so if it's the plain attribute, then we're going to get the, okay, and let's, okay, let's get plain attribute value, get attribute, plain attribute name. We'll say if there's a plain attribute. No, that doesn't work. That's what we were doing before. Okay, so we need the has. If it has it, then we do it. And then we get the attribute value with the plain attribute name. And then we set it, and we got the value to set. Okay. And then we'll do an else. And we know this is matching. So in this case, right? Because it doesn't have the other attribute value. And we did the selector, so we know it's matching. Okay. So now everything should work totally smoothly, right? Failed to execute. Set attribute. Oh, attribute. Wait, what? Current attribute value. Oh, we don't need this. We do not need this. We already have the value we're setting. Is plain attribute. And then we just want, I'm sorry, this is like awful what I'm doing right now. Okay, so we want to set this to that. So we just want to say, okay, does it have this attribute that can be synced to? If it does, set that attribute to the new value that we have. Okay. Otherwise, No, we don't want this. If current location value. What is this? Oh, this is what we were doing before. So we don't need that anymore. Yeah, ifs are dangerous in JavaScript. They're a little dangerous because empty strings are false and 0 is false. So if you're working with numbers and you got a 0, it's a valid value, and you use an if, you're in trouble. Same with strings. Okay. Oh, that's an issue. We shouldn't be able to end up, yeah, we shouldn't be able to end up with that. Okay, that's an easy fix. Let's focus on other things first. So yeah, there's no, yeah, it's always going to be bigger than it should be. Yeah, I just want to fix that real quick. So main sass here, and we've got bundles, and we've got this stuff, and we've got the revision and the payment. And this is when it's switched on, and that's when it's switched off. So we want to handle both cases. Okay. That's the legend. I should split these up into different files, definitely. Okay, so this is the bundle. This is, oh man, where's the non-switched on timeline? Okay, underscore item. This is the non-switched on timeline. Not switched on. Okay. So for feedback, so yeah, these are special cases. For payment and revision, I want the width to be this, always. Oops. Okay, and then for this one, same thing. Okay, so now if I reload and I change this to that, it's not going to fix it here, but it will fix it there. Okay, and now let's go to the expanded version. This is switched on. We've got the revision and the payment, and the timeline block is going to have a height of this. And the same thing here. So, and we're going to say like overwrite default size, or no, overwrite other sizes, maintain default, or enforce default size, something like that. Okay, so now if I change this to that, it didn't work. So if I did that, oh, and it's because I refreshed too fast? Sure. Okay. Awesome, awesome. So now it's enforced. Okay, so let's get back to our data syncing code. So what do we got here? Set location key value. We've got this. This stuff seems to be working, so let's leave that alone for now. Okay, so now we're down to our major revisions, which aren't syncing for some reason. Why? Maybe I changed something there. Oh. Okay. So we're running into an issue here. So if we look at our matching element, it's this. It's got the data type. It's got a location key of bundle description. Okay, so that looks good. Oh, yeah. So set location key value, matching element. Oh, wait, this is just not defined. Okay, yeah, I think I just made a mistake here. Okay. So, let's do this. And we're going to get the location. And it's going to set, what is, I forget what it is now. It's get and set, right? Get attribute. Okay. Attribute value, matching element, get attribute, get that. We'll pass in this. Awesome. 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 Okay. So let's look at what's happening with the revisions. Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay, I know why it is. So we changed the names up there from before when we first started this whole adventure, and we didn't change them down here. So we have the we want to get rid of major. So location key, revision hours, and revision count. Okay, so now we have 4 and 4. Yep, I knew that was going to break. Okay, so now we're going to go back into our input.js library where we export things. Okay, what is it running into? Time text element. Oh, okay. Yep, we're using major there. Okay, well, that's fine. 4, 4. Okay, and we want to delete this because we want it to work for minor revisions now too. Okay, so we don't need to know this anymore. We don't need to know this anymore because we're going to handle them both kind of the same. Okay, so 3 and 3, 3 major revisions. Okay, well, what happened there? I think what we ended up with was this one. So we were saying no, there's no hours to display. Revision hours. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So we've got hours to display. I guess we can move this down here actually. We've got minutes to display. We'll refresh. 3, 3, nan. Okay, so there's something going on with this guy. Oh no. Oh, it's this. Yep, so that's gonna, yep. Is there anywhere else this is used? Yeah, okay. So this is going to be revision hours. Let's search for major here. We got revision count, revision count, revision count, revision minutes, revision minutes, revision count. Any more majors? Nope. Okay. Okay, so now this should work. 3 and 3, the 3 hours of extra work. 1 and 1, 1 major revision. 0 and 0, 0 major revisions. 1 and 5. Awesome. Okay, so this one works. Now the question is, does this one work? 3 and 3. It does. 0.3. Huh. So 0.3 doesn't work. But 0.3 times 60. Oh, this doesn't work. If it's less than if it's less than 60. I don't know. It should, right? Like if I do 20, 60, yeah, it gives me 20 back. Okay, so minutes to display. Why isn't it working with 0.3? Let's put a debugger here. Let's refresh. 0.3, save. Okay. Revision hours. 0.3. Oh, parse int isn't going to work on it, of course. Okay, so yeah, we just need a parse float. So now we have hours to display 0 at 30 minutes. Okay, so, oops. 0.5, save, continue. 0.3, save, continue. 0.2, save, continue. Okay, and is there anything else here? Yes. So since we're parsing a float, we also want to do a math floor on this, I believe. Because we don't want to end up with something like 30.00001 or something. Okay, I think that works. Okay, so now I can have like 0.2, 60, continue. Where is that debugger? Oh, we're still working with old code. Okay, we'll have 60 and we'll have 0.1. 60 major revisions, but each only up to 6 minutes of extra work. Okay, so that seems to work. Let's do this. Okay, so we're getting a lot of data back. That is not what we want. The description is empty, the name is empty. Okay, a lot of things aren't working, but that's fine. Okay, so fixed bugs with input.js. I want to move this code actually before I commit this. So let's take this out and put it into our main app. We will put it in a file called revisions. We will change this later. This needs something from here, from input.js. And is there anything else here that we're relying on? No. Okay, so we save that. We're exporting that. And we need to import revisions. And I'm fine with putting it near input.js for now. So we're going to just say import modules revisions. Maybe that'll work. Refresh a few times. Do 3. Seems to work. Okay. So what do we do here? Fix bugs with sync data function. Okay, awesome. Going on 2 hours here, huh? So now we want to say like moved after save func inside app, enforcing, or I don't know, we don't need to touch on that. Got revisions editing working. Okie dokie. Okay, so now let's do our parse node thing. Why are we getting nothing from bundle name and bundle description? Oh, okay. Yep. So we want to do a document query selector, and then we want to do bundles. So what was happening is we were getting the data from the inline edit components, and those are at the bottom of the page in a separate section. But we just want to get the data from the bundles section. If we combine both of those, the inline edit section is going to overwrite the data from the other section. So that's what was happening. Okay, so now we have the bundle description, we have the bundle name, we have major, and we have minor. Let's rename those slightly. Are we in the inline edit section? No. Okay, so we'll call this major revisions, and we'll call this minor revisions. And then I think we can just do like count in hours instead. So we'll do count, and we'll do hours, and we'll do count, and we'll do hours. And then we gotta go down here, bundle revisions. Okay, and we gotta do count and hours. So now we'll get somewhat nicer code exporting, I believe. So yeah, now we have major revisions, count in hours, minor revisions, count in hours, the bundle description, the bundle name. Oh, geez. That's not what we want at all. And then size and type. Okay, so there's these timeline items up here. So we got the timeline items. So we're going to do something awesome. We're going to give this a data O type of list. Okay. Maybe that'll work. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why this isn't working. This should work actually. Oh wait, no, this needs a key. Data O key of timeline items. 1, 2, 3, refresh. There we go. Timeline items each has a type, a size, primary text, and secondary text. That's awesome. That's exactly what we want. Minor revisions, major revisions, bundle name, and description. So everything that's currently editable on the page is now syncing. So if I change this to like 3 major revisions, oh man. I was just about to show this off. Why did you break? Cannot set property inner text of null. Oh, because I changed it again. I sometimes am a masochist. Okay, so it's this one. Key hours. Okay, I'll save that. Wait for a little bit. Okay. So now if I change this to 3, each 3 hours, save. It didn't work again. Okay. I don't know. I give up. I give up. Okay, what's going on here? So 3 and 3. We've got hours to display. Okay, that's fine. Revision hours. Oh, because now it's just called hours. Okay, so flat data has count. This has hours. Yeah, this is an issue with code like this. It's very tightly coupled to now the data attributes, which is fine. I mean, honestly, it's fine. For quickly building out an app, it's fine. So do 3 and 3. Now if we do this, we should get the updated hours. Let's set this to like 10.5 for each minor revision. Parse it again, and we get hours 10.5. And let's see real quick, how long does this take to parse? Okay, 2 milliseconds, not too bad. This isn't including the images yet. I mean, those are just going to be URLs, you know, so it's not going to add a lot of things, but it's not including this cover image. It's not including these images, and we're probably going to have at least like 3 bundles on every page. So I could imagine it taking a bit longer, but that's a pretty good performance for now. Okay, so I'm going to call it a day for now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. I'm just going to commit this code. Yeah, I guess I'll do that right now. Change naming for output.js parser. I don't know how to say. Change naming for data output. Sure. We didn't change anything over there. Okay. Awesome. Okay, I'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. It was a blast.